in the row. We're in the
See.
Could you not add that bit to the YouTube where we're talking about fucking dead people?
That's in.
Please?
That's in. That's the preload. Welcome to Goats, the show that puts the G in oats. The show where each week we try to find an objective answer. We try to find an objective answer to a very subjective question. Which is the greatest? ... Before we get started, just a reminder to tell all your friends about the show and to follow us on Instagram at @the_goats_pod. The more listeners and followers we have, the less time it will be till we can quit our jobs and wank ourselves to death. Oh wait, Vinny's already started.
Nice.
You've been done there.
Speaking of Vinny, I am, as always, joined by my two co-hosts, Vinny and Michael. And can I just say, before we get going, how refreshing it is. Obviously, we've had quite a lot of big episodes, guests on recently. It's just nice to just phone one in again, isn't it? Just fucking do the bare minimum.
It's like a chill out one, this one.
How are you both doing?
Good. I realised how much of a massive nerd I was the other day.
Only just realised.
Yeah, because I was watching Top Gear with my son, really old Top Gear, because he loves it. Like, I'm talking like season 3 and that. And
Vintage.
Yeah, proper vintage.
With
like
the
James
proper
May looks
iffy
about,
jokes.
Like 20 years old, yeah. And the thing I noticed the most about the old Top Gear is how much Lord of the Rings music they use.
Really?
Like, they use so much Lord of the Rings, like the orchestral pieces, like Sauron's theme, like all this stuff. Like when they're blowing the car across the like track with a jet engine, Sauron's theme's playing, and like and then another episode when the guy's like parachuting into a car, they're playing, I think it's like the March to Helm's Deep music or something, and I'm just like noticing constantly all these Lord of the Rings themes in Top Gear. Yeah.
Wow.
And like every time I'm like, Jen, it's Lord of the Rings, and she's just like doesn't give a fuck.
Well, you did also bring up Lord of the Rings in both the Saru episode and the Amy episode, so...
Did I?
Yes.
How did I do that?
You did.
You brought it up in the Saru episode. I can't remember. You definitely brought it up in the Amy one as well.
I remember, yeah.
Well, it's easy to bring up, isn't it?
No. Anyway. I was going to say, I actually did this last week, but I don't know why I didn't mention it last week, but I'm still suffering the consequences. This is maybe a bit of an exaggeration, but I did what I would call pulling a Tony Ferguson, which probably doesn't mean much to Vinny because Vinny's not into mixed martial arts, but Tony Ferguson is a
Vinny switches off.
Tony Ferguson is a fighter known for having to miss fights because he injures himself in training, because he'll do stuff like kick steel poles or like backflip off a beach ball onto another beach ball and like break both his legs.
Fuck.
He's really stupid. He also refuses to train. Like, he doesn't spar in training because he thinks that he only has a certain number of special moves that he'll ever do in his life, and he doesn't want to use them up in training.
Yeah, like he thinks like if he attempts like a spinning heel axle kick, like the chances of him landing that twice are impossible, so he's got to save it for the fight.
That's literally the way he does it.
Yeah,
and he does land some crazy stuff. Like, some of his, it's one end of the spectrum to the other. Some days he's great, some days he's shy. Like, one day he's kicking a steel bowl and injuring himself. The next day he's like doing a leg sweep that looks like it's from anime, and everyone's like, what the fuck? But anyway, I did a Tony Ferguson. I couldn't sleep. Had a quite bad bout of insomnia recently. It was like 3 a.m. I had enough. And so I just, without doing any stretching or getting ready or anything, I don't know how many, but I did pull-ups until I felt sick. Like, I just did them and did them and did... Fuck off, 3, you little bastard. It was, and it was knocking on the hundreds, not in a row, but I would do like 10 and then stop and do 10 and then stop and just did them. And I've been unable to train for the last 2 weeks. Just completely fucked myself. I couldn't move my neck the first day. I just woke up, finally went to sleep, woke up and was just like, I've just been walking around like a robot.
Yeah.
Anyway, the moral of that story is I can do pull-ups. So,
6.
Cool.
V-Dog, how have you been?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Nice.
Right.
Moving on.
So, it's long been known. It's long been known that the king who kills the jester is not a king, but a tyrant. Thus is the importance of parody. For as long as humans have existed, humour has been a way to hold a mirror to the establishment, to hold them accountable for their failings and to keep them grounded. From Charlie Chaplin's 1940 masterpiece, The Great Dictator, which was allegedly watched and smuggled in by Hitler himself to watch.
Of course you'd know that.
I follow all his best work. Oh, it's another Hitler cameo. He's in.
Lord of the Rings, Hitler, they're always here.
Hitler's in everything.
Says you.
To more modern films like Tropic Thunder, which punish the relentless self-absorbed nature of Hollywood and parody its own making. Parody is one of the most important genres of entertainment. But which is best? And more importantly, who's going first?
I'll go first.
Yep,
Unless
right.
any objects.
All right, more cool. After
I'm
you.
fine with that.
Seeing as
I'm
I've
gonna-
got the absolute GOAT parody film ever right here.
I mean, you don't. I mean,
So
I
once
have
I've
it,
wrapped
but
up,
okay.
you know, we might as well just call cut. Early lunch, you know what I mean?
Early lunch at fucking 8 o'clock in the night.
Go upstairs, bang the missus, go to bed.
Cool.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
Are you ready for me? Right.
that's what you'll be saying,
Are
mate.
you ready?
Are you ready? Okay, so this was so easy. I'm not even going to beat around the bush or say shit I didn't pick. I literally just picked something instantly. As soon as I saw parody movie, I was like, oh yeah, of course. And I thought straight away to the ultimate parody movie series, Scary Movie. It's the ultimate. There are 5 movies in this line. However, some of the writers from the first movie went on to create other masterpieces of cinema, such as Superfast, which is the 2015 Fast and Furious parody, which is funny because at this point, those movies are basically a parody of themselves anyway.
Yeah.
Vampires Suck. Any guesses?
Twilight.
Yeah, I know.
Twilight, yep. The Starving Games.
Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the absolute creme de la creme, the cream of the crop of these, like, parody. I don't even know how to classify Scary Movie in these kind of movies. They're like
Spoof
mega
films.
parodies. The
Spoof
creme,
films.
the creme de la creme. Date Movie, Epic Movie, Meet the Spartans, and the absolute best, Disaster Movie. Now, Disaster Movie, funnily enough, was the first ever 12-rated movie that I ever owned. And my parents gave it to me on my 12th birthday. Because they were very strangely strict about movie age ratings when I was a kid, so I wasn't allowed to watch anything until I was old enough to what the box said on the video. Which is weird, because then I went to my friend's house, and their parents didn't feel the same way, so I could just watch whatever the fuck I wanted, so it didn't really work. Looking at you, Vinny, you bad influence. But Disaster Movie actually has another little title to its name. It has one of the worst, or if not the worst, IMDb rating on the entire website with 1.9.
Yeah, it's a terrible film. It's really bad. I was so disappointed when I saw that in the cinema. I was like, that was so bad.
You
Why
saw
did I
it in the
watch that?
cinema.
Yeah, I used to love like spoof movies, and that was the film that made me never like spoof movies ever again.
Yeah, well,
Like, you ruined them for me.
luckily, I didn't actually pick Disaster Movie. I picked a different film from this category of epic, amazing parody films. And all of the 5 Scary Movie ones that I just mentioned hold a place in cinema that the place might be, you know, for over-the-top, grotesque forms of shove it down your throat, how many references and parodies we can make in the films, but it's a place in cinema history nonetheless. Scary Movie was originally created primarily by the Wayans brothers, who famously brought us the absolute classic White Chicks. That's a fucking great movie. So Scary Movie's got pedigree. Do you know what I mean?
White Chicks is its pedigree.
Now, here came the very tough choice. I got 5 scary movies. Which one am I gonna pick? I could go with the classic, the original, the numero uno Scary Movie, with its iconic "Wazza" sequence. I could go with Vinny's personal favourite, Scary Movie 3.
Scary Movie 1's my favourite.
But then I remembered that he wasn't actually hosting, and I didn't need his bias. I could go with the dreadful Scary Movie 5, which gave a recently disgraced, tiger blood loving, and friend of the show, Charlie Sheen, another chance at the big time. But nah, none of those would cut it for me. The one that I chose was the first ever scary movie that I ever watched, and the one I have the most fond memories with. It genuinely sits in a little place in my heart, this film. And that is, of course, Scary Movie 2. Oh, yeah. You guys look very excited. Scary Movie 2's the best.
It's just, the thing is, not even as good or 1 or 3, though. It's like...
But I also didn't even know... Right. I don't... Right, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I didn't know that those films even had plots. I just thought they were sort of a number of skits and impressions sort of sewn together.
Well, they do have a plot.
Maybe if you listen to my presentation, you'll be persuaded otherwise, and you'll crown Scary Movie 2 as the greatest parody movie of all time.
Did it hold a mirror up to one of the greatest dictators in history?
Yeah. So anyway, listen. I watched this film when I was about 9 or 10, I would say, at a friend's house. Of course, like I said, I wasn't 15, so I wasn't old enough to watch the movie. And my first impressions were, well, it did make me laugh, but it also scared the shit out of me. I mean, it is called Scary Movie. You know, it must be pretty scary. However, when I was a little bit older and I watched it again, I realised that it's not actually meant to be scary, and so I felt just like a massive pussy. The reason I was so scared was because the movie opens with a parody of the GOAT horror movie as claimed by, on this very show, The Exorcist. However, unlike the iconic horror classic, the Scary Movie version involves a puke fight, one of the priest's mothers being in bed with the demon, and eventually one of the priests dry humping the demon before pulling out a gun, shooting the demon and killing it. Clearly, it's slightly different to the original film, but that's what a parody is.
Oh no.
Why? What? I don't know why you guys don't like this.
Because it's fucking drivel.
I'm just disappointed you didn't pick Scary Movie 1, because I love that film so much.
I'm just disappointed.
But talking about Scary Movie 1, this is where Scary Movie shines, right? It mocks the films that it's parodying to complete ridiculousness. And talking of the films that it parodies, unlike most parodies, which focus on maybe doing 1 or 2, Scary Movie takes on a lot of movies. Like, it will do a lot of parodies in each film. The list of films that Scary Movie 2 parodies is as follows. Give me a second. It's a long list. Right. The Amityville Horror, Charlie's Angels, Cheeks and Chong Up in Smoke, Dirty Harry, Dude, Where's My Car, The Exorcist, Final Destination, House on Haunted Hill, Hannibal, The Haunting, Hollow Man, It, The Legend of Hell House, Little Shop of Horrors, Mission Impossible 2, Night of the Demons, a Nike commercial, Paulie, Poltergeist, Poltergeist 2, Rocky, The Rocky Horror Picture Show, Rose Red, Save the Last Dance, Titanic, 2000 United States presidential election in Florida, What Lies Beneath, and The Weakest Link. Whew.
When does the It parody come in? I don't remember there being an It parody. Do you remember?
The word "it" is written across a wall in the room where Shorty hides out at the end of the movie. An interesting note is that Tim Curry, who plays Professor Oldman in this movie, played the role of Pennywise the Clown in the 1990 movie.
Oh yeah, I forgot. He was in that film. Tim Curry.
Now,
Steph Curry was in that film.
no,
Yeah, did you say Steph Curry? What?
Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Kobe.
I think this is where the
Curry.
charm of the Scary Movie franchise is. It's spotting all these little references, although some are pretty in your face, and laughing at them ridiculously. It's not meant to be serious. It's not meant to be a good parody. That's why it's a funny parody, because that list is fucking exhausting to get through. You can't possibly keep up with it, but watching it again and again and trying to spot all the different parodies that it does, that's the funny part. South Park does it sometimes. They'll take millions of references and shove them into an episode, and it's hilarious. So Scary Movie 2 must be the GOAT. Now, the plot of the film is pretty loose, but there is a plot. The teenagers from the first movie, they're brought to a haunted house from the beginning. So the haunted house in the beginning with the exorcist demon that the priest humps, the teenagers from the first movie are brought there to be studied by David Cross, who's in a wheelchair in this movie, which comes into play later, and Tim Curry.
Steph Curry.
At the house, strange things start happening. They're greeted by a caretaker who famously has a strong hand. Or does he? This is a Mandela effect. Prime example. He never says strong hand. He never says take my strong hand. When David Cross's character is dangling from the ceiling and the caretaker's leaning over with his strong hand, he says what does he say? Hang on, let me just pause the time and let me just get this exactly.
He says, oh fuck, what does he
I had
say?
it remembered.
He says, take my little hand.
Yeah. But he says
Damn,
he does say the word strong.
He does say it.
Yeah. He does say the word strong. I'm just trying to remember when exactly he says it.
This would be great for the YouTube listeners.
Because I don't write this stuff down. I'm just like, yeah, I remember that.
Just write it down, you idiot.
And that is the difference between us and Saru.
I can't even hear it because the bug's on.
He says,
Right.
take my little hand.
Yeah, right. So, as David Cross is dangling to his death, the guy leans over and he goes, take my hand! And he's like, no, give me your other hand, because he's dangling like his deformed hand down. And he's like, no, my other hand's not strong enough. Take my little hand, like that. But he never says, take my strong hand, which is the quote that this movie is most famous for. I think that's really funny, that such an iconic film, they can't even get the words right. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's probably because it's quite ableist, so people just wanted to forget, you know?
Huh? I didn't hear that.
People try to forget it.
Like, if there was a scene of, like, a black guy putting his hand out the window and the guy who was falling was like, no, give me a white guy, people would probably, you know... go
No,
down
that's
that
not the joke.
The joke is he's got a disabled hand, so no one wants to touch it because it's disabled.
Yeah, but it's his strong hand.
He doesn't say that.
He doesn't say that. He
Right,
says,
don't
"Take my
make me
little-"
feel bad, because I'm going to get hounded otherwise.
That's like, I don't know, there's a film where there's an Uber driver and then the Uber driver turns up and he's in a wheelchair, so they say, oh no,
it's-
can we have a different Uber driver?
No, because they get to know
great
this
film.
character. That's like at the end. That's like near the end. They get to know this guy.
And they still
And
won't
it-
touch
about
his
his
disabled hand.
Yeah, because he does weird stuff with his hand. For example, they have a bizarre dinner where the caretaker fingers all the food with his hand and eats all the food of his hand. He's doing all this disgusting stuff. He shoves his hand up a turkey's ass, and then he humps the turkey. He dry humps it and then serves it on the plates to people. So they're already like, this guy's really weird.
Because he's got a disabled hand.
No, because he's crazy. He's a crazy caretaker. And he just so happens to have a funny hand. He doesn't have... For God's sake, why do I have to explain all this stuff? Seb's just trying to dig me into a hole to make me look like a dickhead. Right, I'm ignoring you, Seb. I'm moving on. So he humps the turkey, they eat dinner, and then they all go to bed. Then, here come the paranormal bits. There's a sex scene with a ghost. Someone boxes a cat and knocks it out. Then, someone has sex with a possessed clown. Then, a giant weed monster rolls up the film's iconic stoner, Shorty, and then smokes him. And he likes it, because he's a stoner. Then, they're locked in the house. And David Cross's character has all the keys, because they're like, what's going on? Crazy shit's happening. We need to get out of here. David Cross' character has the only keys to the house, so the token fit girl of the movie tries to seduce him, offering him a blowjob. But he's not easily swayed, and instead he performs self-fellatio on himself, despite being in a wheelchair. It's very impressive. She leaves, and they don't get the keys, so they're trapped in the house. So what they do, they then decide to go and fight all the ghosts of the house. Some shit goes down, I can't remember. And the plot gets very messy here. But they win. They beat the ghosts. I don't know, they shoot them. There's a movie reference. And then it's like 2 months later, and Cindy and her love interest, they're safe. And I swear down that the guy is Neil Patrick Harris. Is it Neil Patrick Harris?
Who's Neil Patrick Harris again?
Who's Neil Patrick Harris?
He's the one from How I Met Your Mother who's quite rapey.
Oh my
that
god,
guy.
no, it's not.
He's in Harold and Kumar, I remember that.
It's
Yeah,
not
it
Neil
is.
Patrick Harris. It just looks... It's
is it?
Francis from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes, yeah, it's Francis, yeah.
Oh, they look exactly the same.
Yeah, they look pretty similar, I guess, yeah.
That's fucking weird. They look exactly the same. Anyway, Francis from Malcolm in the Middle, he's there with Cindy, and they're like, oh, we're all safe. But, the twist ending, the caretaker shows up, and he's like, oh, I'm going to take you back to the house. And they're like looking at the sky, no! But, crisscross, twist. Shorty runs him over with his car. Pow! Kills the caretaker, Cindy, and Neil Patrick Harris. Cindy and Francis from fucking Malcolm in the Middle are safe. And then Shorty gets a blowjob from a ghost in the car as he's driving away. Movie finishes.
There's a lot of blowjobs and
There's a
ghost
lot
sex.
Blowjobs, ghost sex, and reference to disabled people being a bit gross.
He's not gross because he's disabled. He's just gross. Like, he pops a pimple into the food, I'm pretty sure. He's just gross. It's got nothing to do with his hand.
I know, but they said, let's make someone who looks disgusting and gross. Let's give him greasy hair and spots and give him a funny voice and buck teeth. And what can we do to make him even more disgusting? The cherry on top of the disgusting cake will give him a disabled hand.
Well, they might have done that, and that would be not very nice. But we don't know that that's the decision that
I
they
can
made.
guarantee that's the decision they made. I've watched the film.
But anyway, the plot of the film, it's not really that important. What is important is the laughs. And this film gets a laugh. Just me talking about these scenes and not doing them justice whatsoever has got you two cracking up wildly.
Has it?
Yeah,
I
at
thought
you, but actually not
thought
with
this
you.
would go a bit better than it has done.
Hang on, did you put that in your script? You were like, this is a guaranteed banger, so I'm just going to assume that they were rolling on the floor with laughter.
Oh, get this dude gets sucked off by a ghost. It's hilarious, guys.
And then another guy gets rolled up into a spliff and gets
The
smoked.
iconic stoner.
Absolute fucking drivel. Jesus Christ. Oh, and do you remember that bit where they were really horrible to those two disabled people? Great.
Well, they weren't
comedy
horrible
gold.
to two disabled people.
She's
the
hot.
one, actually.
No, but the whole bit about the caretaker is that he's in a wheelchair and he lifts his
He's
head
not in a
legs.
wheelchair.
He is.
No, the other guy, he's a scientist's assistant.
Well, the guy who sucks himself off is the guy in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And he puts the legs over his head and he holds them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
How do you do that? That's crazy. David Cross is a very talented man.
Wow. Maybe the writing's just going over my head. I don't know.
What's important is the laughs and the parodies and getting all the references. It really is the ultimate parody movie because these films literally do nothing. They do absolutely nothing but parody everything. And they do it in the most violent manner with no care or consideration for anything. It's absurd levels of parody. I don't think you can get more absurd, whether you love it or hate it. It's the ultimate parody films, and I actually love Scary Movie 2, and I think that it's the GOAT.
Not the GOAT Scary Movie.
The greatest parody movie of all time is Scary Movie 2.
Well, it just parodies. Did you listen to that list? Whatever Vinny brings to the table, that movie's not going to have parodied but 200 different films.
Mork, Disaster Film parodied 3 million films. I've seen that film. Every scene's like a new parody. Look at this thing. This just came out. Let's just have this on the screen. And it's like, it's not funny. It's just referencing a film that everyone knows. That's not funny, though.
That one's not funny, but Scary Movie 2 is funny.
No, because you're forgetting about the ableism, Vinny. That's
Please stop bringing that up. I just didn't think about that. I wouldn't have done it if I knew I was going to get annihilated for that. I don't need to defend
You don't
myself
care
because
about
I've not
disabled
done anything
people.
wrong.
It's fine. No, here's the thing.
I do, obviously. I just shouldn't need to say that, should I?
I just want you to know I've never been more disappointed in a choice in the history of this show.
What? Really? It is a parody movie. Why could it not be considered for the GOAT?
It's just a bit shit, isn't it?
They like parody everything. What?
Okay,
I
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I did a human hand as the greatest sex toy. I thought that was actually genius, and you lot just went, no. I thought that was impressive, and now you're saying Scary Movie 2 is not a great parody movie.
What I think is where you might have gone wrong is quantity over quality.
Well, I didn't see your mum moaning.
I didn't see your mum moaning.
What does that even mean?
Because I got quantity. I've gone into Scary Movie mode.
He's gonna get rolled off into a big spliff in a minute and suck himself off in a wheelchair.
The iconic stoner of the show is gonna get rolled into a spliff.
Right, why are you laughing at the iconic stoner?
Vinny, watch out!
He's Shorty. Shorty is the iconic stoner.
Look, I understand what you're saying. I think maybe I was a tad harsh. I do think those films genuinely, they do have a place in my heart. When I was like 13, 14, I used to watch clips of them on YouTube. We've all seen the bit with The Exorcist where she's doing the funny V sign and pretending that she wants him to lick her fanny, and then he starts doing it and blah, 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 blah. I think what it was unexpected. I think it was unexpected in terms of...
The best parodies are, they hit you right in the face.
Is this like a meta thing? Is your pick like a parody? Were you like joking the whole time?
Oh, sure, yeah, maybe. Does that get extra points?
Okay, well, do you know what the funny thing is I thought that the next bit I'm about to do would be the lowest point in the show.
No!
But I think Michael's gone lower.
Are we actually doing the higher or lower?
We're not doing celebrity pedo higher or lower.
Okay, right.
Thank
God for that.
We're doing celebrity parody pedo. No, okay. so no, for the middle bit, we're doing a middle bit. We're going to move on from that 15 minutes of Michael telling the jumbled story of Scary Movie 2. And we're going to go on to a bit that was inspired by fan of the show, Keith J. I very much doubt he's made it this far, unless Vinny cuts all of that.
I think Keith will fucking love my Scary Movie 2.
I think in the cut it should just be Scary Movie 2, and then and that's why I think it's the GOAT. And then we'll just, but no. Keith J recently commented on our rapper episode, the greatest rapper episode, the controversial episode as we call it, that I should bring back my impression of Charlie Sloth. Now, Charlie Sloth, you'll be glad to know.
Like that, he's gonna fucking love my Scary Movie 2 presentation.
Now, here's the thing: Charlie Sloth will not be making an appearance today.
But we couldn't get him. We couldn't afford him.
But impressions and impressionism is a very important part of parody. It's quite difficult to say, but impressions and impressionism are a very important part of parody.
That was a great segue.
It's also one of my less utilised talents.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And I thought it would be a good chance to show off my skill set as an impressionist.
That's what everyone does.
to play a very basic game of guess the impression. Now, it's going to work like this. I'm going to do 6, maybe more impressions.
If he starts talking German, Vinny, we know exactly who it is.
3 each.
Angela Merkel, of course. Obviously. He loves Angela Merkel.
Oh, no. Okay. I'm going to do 6 impressions, 3 each. But it's going to be a bit difficult because basically each turn you'll have the option to either hear the impression in context. So, for instance, if I was doing Charlie Sloth, I'd be like, "Welcome, the sexiest fat man in the world. Find the proof."
Right.
And
yeah.
and that. Whereas, or if you're feeling a bit more brave, I can recite one of the top 148 lines in Shakespeare in the impression, and that gets you 2 points. So, for instance, it would be, "Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown." Yeah.
I get you.
So, first up, they're so easy as well. They're not. They're like
this
the ones
depends how
that,
good at impressions you are.
they're the ones
this heavily
that
depends
everyone.
on you said that, by the way, not us.
They're the ones that everyone thinks they can do. Okay.
Right.
So, Michael, I don't want to hear you talk for a minute, so I'm going to do Vinny. Vinny, this is the first impression. Would you like
I'll do
either...
the second one, please.
You want...
I'll do the Shakespeare. Let's go for it.
Okay.
Oh, they meant just do the second impression. Do you want to hear the first one?
No.
Okay. I got to... So I have to say some stuff to myself.
Well, not so we can fucking hear you.
Be not afraid of greatness.
Come on, I know who
Some
that is.
are born great. Some achieve greatness. Others have greatness thrust upon them.
Oh, that is easy. It's terrible, but it is easy.
It sounds like a really bad Snape impression.
It's Alan Rickman!
It was a bad Snape impression, that's why.
Thank God. I was like, who the fuck is that?
Ronald Weasley.
Ronald Weasley. Okay, so...
Akio Bomb.
Akio Bomb. Stop it, Ron. Stop. I can quote those 2 videos fucking.
Oh, this is so stupid. Okay.
I love it.
Okay, the next one. Michael, you're up. Would you like Shakespeare?
I want Shakespeare.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna... Gosh, crikey. Sweet are the roses of adversity. Like the toad, ugly and venomous. Crikey. Wears yet a precious jewel on its head. Oh, goodness. Oh.
What?
I had sex with a woman in a car park. Oh, gosh.
Are you like... You keep saying crikey. Are you like Steve Irwin with Tourette's?
No. I'm posh. I'm English. Gosh, crikey. Ooh. You look rather fabulous. Oh.
It's not going to be Prince Philip, is it?
No.
Wait, one of them.
No.
Can I switch to the... Can I switch to the in costume one?
In context, no, well, Vinny's got to have a go first because I don't know if Vinny knows.
Oh, is it? Is Colin Firth the guy?
Oh, you're so close. You're so close.
Did I get the wrong actor?
You got the wrong actor, but you know the genre.
Yeah, I know what. Yeah.
It's not. Can I go again?
Yeah.
Hugh Grant.
Yes, Hugh Grant.
It. Hugh Grant.
But
I thought Hugh Grant, but then I was like, that sounds absolutely fucking nothing like Hugh Grant. When has Hugh Grant had Tourette's and said, crikey, why is he got mega dandruff? Why is he scratching his head so much?
He always does that. He plays with his hair. He goes like, oh.
Crikey, I had sex in a car park. What are you talking about?
How I knew it was just posh, like posh English, and he's bumbling.
Yeah,
the
bumbling.
first thing I thought was Hugh Grant, but then I was like, that's not fucking Hugh Grant.
Yeah, fuck. Got the wrong guy.
Okay, so, Vinny, you're up next.
Okay.
Shakespeare or no Shakespeare?
Just give me Shakespeare
Okay.
on those 2 points.
Okay, there's a facial element that listeners won't be able to tell.
Yeah, I'll full screen you. I'll full screen you. There you go, full screen.
A facial element.
But
Seb,
what
don't be
YouTube...
racist.
No, I'm not doing Jackie Chan or something.
Right.
Can you imagine? Just get the sellotape out.
Oh, we have to cut all that.
I'm keeping it in.
Okay. Gosh.
Oh. Shin already got it. It's Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
Shin, of course.
Honestly, I would not have known who the fuck that was. How did you get that, Keira Knightley?
It's my best impression is, gosh, I actually look quite pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget. I've never seen that.
The last 2 people have been from Love Actually, haven't they?
Yeah, the last 3.
Oh, yeah, it was Alan Rickman in.
Severus Snape's in Love Actually.
Yeah, he's a bastard. He cheats on his wife. Okay. Mork, you're up next. Shakespeare or no Shakespeare?
Shakespeare.
Okay. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice.
Come on, Walk.
Do you have any idea what that is?
I know it's a really bad impression of something.
That's what I'm thinking, but I'm like, it can't
Oh, come
be that
on.
bad
Just
because
go
it's.
for it.
Nothing can come of nothing.
Are you trying your hardest to do Arnie there? Are you actually trying your hardest to do Arnie? 'Cause that is awful.
Was he in Love Actually as well?
That is your worst one so far.
Oh, this is great.
That was
I
so
love this.
bad.
This is my favorite little bit of all time.
Why can't you just do get to the chopper?
When did Shakespeare ever say that?
But it's Shakespeare. If you said context, that's what I would have said.
Give me a Shakespeare line.
I did.
What's the one with to be or not to be? That is the
I'm
question.
looking at it now. To be.
You sound like Jar Jar Binks.
Mister not afraid of greatness. I didn't even put Jar Jar Binks down. Oh no! He's one of my best impressions. Okay, Vinny,
Yo.
you're up next. Shakespeare or no?
If you get this and I get my next one, we're both tied on maximum points, and then he's going to be forced to do another impression.
Can't wait.
How far that little candle throws its beams?
It's Chris Walken. It's a bad impression of Chris Walken.
Yeah, boy.
What was your context? The watch story without the...
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
It'd have been. You know, your father put this watch up his ass.
Yes.
Ass.
So flamboyant. Like a gay man from the 80s or something.
Well, he did have a watch up his ass. So anyway, no. Okay, Michael.
Yeah.
Shakespeare or no Shakespeare?
Obviously Shakespeare.
Go on.
Okay. Sorry, I just need to. My name is Michael. Okay. The legacy, above all, to twine thyself be true. The robbed that smiles steals something from the thief.
This is actually difficult because you're either doing it really well or so badly that it could literally be anyone.
Small. Small.
Is it Tom Hardy?
No.
Damn.
Could you do it again for me, please?
Okay. I'm losing it. Give it a sec. Okay. Easy, easy lies the head that wears the uneasy lies the crown. Okay. I'm gonna do a line because I'm struggling here. I need to say the line. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
Ah.
My name is.
Fuck.
Harry Kane! No, it's, not Harry Kane. What's his name?
It's, oh. Can I just shout out if I get it? Michael Caine's.
Michael Caine.
Do you know what? The thing is Mork thought that you were on. Yeah, I'm just going to say that's equal points for everyone. Because we got lost a little bit there in the impression. So I'm going to say you're on equal points, mostly because I want to do this tiebreaker. Now, I think this is the best impression I've got. But I can only say one word. But I think you'll get it. Are you ready?
Colucci.
What did you say?
You know that dude from Game of Thrones?
Oh, yeah.
Colucci.
No. It's
Is it just
this.
shout it out if you know the answer?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
That's a goat. That's an actual goat.
No. Yeah. Yeah, P. Yeah. Yeah, P. Do it again.
I don't know.
What the fuck is
I
that?
really don't know.
We
That's
run this
just a
town.
voice sound.
Yeah. Young Hover.
Oh my god, it's Jay. Is that Jay-Z?
Is that Jay-Z?
Yeah.
That's
No,
what
it's
Jay-Z
not.
sounds like.
That
Yeah.
is.
That's not what
Yeah.
Jay-Z sounds like.
That is. It is. Get a clip of Jay-Z saying yeah, and it sounds like this. Yeah. He says it with like a J. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a goat. Meh.
No, it's yeah. No, you got to say J. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, can we just move on from this?
No.
I can't take the victory for that. That was so bad, Seb.
I think we all lost it.
We all lost that.
Okay, well, after one of the worst first bits and easily the worst middle bit we've ever had,
Did I lose?
Vinny,
Almost first bit.
I was awful. Vinny, do you want to go ahead?
How
you
about
need to pop to Lou.
this episode is a parody of a Goats episode where everything's rubbish and that's the joke.
Yeah, let's see if we can pull that one off.
Surely this isn't as bad as Gandalf.
I think the thing with Gandalf is there was a level of effort in trying to squeeze it in that was quite impressive.
I was quite like, oh yeah, scary movie. This is good. Even the
It's
script,
just unfortunate
I was like,
because I
this is
hate
good.
those films.
But as I was reading it, I was like, oh no, maybe this is shit. But
Did
not
you
because
just...
not because I've done it shit, because it's a shit movie.
Did you just read the plot from the Wikipedia page?
Yeah. No, I didn't read the plot from the Wikipedia page. No, sorry. Why, have you got it up, have you?
No, did you do it from memory?
No, I read it and then wrote down. I read it, watched some scenes, and then wrote down like my basic plot. You know, I was gonna watch the whole movie, but I was like, "Fuck that."
That's never a good start. If you're suggesting something is the greatest of any genre, and you go, "Maybe I should watch The Thing," no, fuck that. That's not a good start.
Did you not watch it?
Nah.
If
I
you just go,
watched all the clips.
Okay, you can't be bothered
But
with
I've
that.
seen it so many times.
Right, I'm ready.
All right, well, look, V-Dog, bring us home. Please, God, say something. You pick something with some sort of cultural significance or substance.
You got a timer?
Yes.
He could probably pick a turd and he'd beat
Or,
me, wouldn't
cheer!
he?
Cheer, I got a timer, B! Cheer!
Scary Movie 3.
No, fuck that.
The greatest sequel to the greatest movie ever.
No. Okay. So, when I thought of goat parody film, I literally thought instantly, like Mork, instantly an answer came to my head. And that answer, well, it wasn't Scary Movie. You'll be happy to know.
It was Date Movie.
It was Meet the Spy.
American Psycho. Now, I was really keen to pick American Psycho because I've seen the film so many times I could literally quote like 80% of the script. I'm obsessed with it. It's like my joint favorite comedy film of all time. Absolutely love it. But just to be safe, I did look up what a parody film is, the actual definition. And the definition is a film that mocks or spoofs other films or another film genre. Now, American Psycho does parody yuppie culture, and it does it extremely well. And one day I will fucking talk about American Psycho on the show, because I fucking love that film so much. But it's not a parody film, let's be honest.
Oh, the worst bit is, with that fucking start from Michael, I would have given it to you in a heartbeat.
Yeah, because I was like, American Psycho's not a comedy. It's not a comedy, is it? Really?
Oh, it's 100% a comedy.
It's a comedy if you've got a dark sense of humor. I've actually found out, I've realized that it's a litmus test of like how dark a sense of humor you have is how much of a comedy you think it is.
I've got a really dark sense of humor there, but I didn't find it funny. Maybe I was just... I've only seen it once, so maybe I was just blown away by it. That was the thing.
It's one of the funniest films I've ever seen in my life, to be honest.
Oh, maybe I'm an
I
absolute
find it
wetwipe.
quite funny. But then I
Yeah.
think there's like a humour in the sort of grossness of it.
It's very dry, it's very dark.
And it's also like very real. Like the whole bit, the scene with the cards I always think of when they're like,
Business cards. Such
they're
a good
sliding
scene.
the business cards and he's like talking about all the fonts.
Impressive. Very nice.
Yeah,
I
That's
guess
bold.
it is funny, yeah. I think because I've only seen it once, I don't know what my reaction is. I'm not horrified by it. I'm not scared by it. I'm not like, laughing. I was in awe of it at first because it was so deep, I felt. But I guess it is funny, yeah. But
Michael, you once told me that you had sex in front of a mirror and did the American Psycho muscles to yourself.
You point at the mirror and, ugh.
did I tell you that?
Yeah, you did tell me that.
Oh. Did I actually?
Yeah, you told me that. I swear on my life.
Oh.
It's cat's out of the bag now.
Oh, well.
Mate, I've never seen you go that red.
I'm just going to turn my heater off.
That's amazing.
Anyway, Vinny, what did you pick?
So yeah, I didn't pick American Psycho, but I realised my other favourite film of all time, favorite comedy film of all time, that I've also seen 3 million times and can quote like 90% of the film verbatim. That actually is a parody film. And that film is Edgar Wright's 2007 flick Hot Fuzz, which is a parody of cop films.
Thank you,
So it ticks that box.
Oh, I should have done Shaun of the Dead.
There's a lot of things he should have done. Scary Movie 2 wasn't one of them.
Oh no. You know, that was a bad pick.
Fuck you, Christopher Walken.
Hey man, that's not a very nice thing to say. Yeah, you shouldn't say that, man. Sorry. Anyway, Vinny.
So anyway, so to talk about what makes a parody film so good, you have to talk about what it's referencing, the reference material. So obviously Hot Fuzz is parodying cop films, especially those from like the 90s and noughties. And those films were all bombastic, explosions everywhere. The guy comes in, he fucking guns down all the baddies, all the drug dealers. He kills like 100 people in the film. He gets the girl and he kills like the English guy with the scar on his face, because it's always an English guy who's the bad guy in these American films. And like, you know, they're fucking balls to the wall, blood everywhere, super gritty, hard man, big muscles and all that stuff. But obviously cops aren't like that in real life. Police work is nothing like that. And that's what Hot Fuzz does so amazingly. Instead of parodying it in the sense that it makes it way more ridiculous and turns it up to 11, it does the exact opposite. It turns the entire genre up on its head, and it basically says like, right, actually police work is a lot of just waiting around in your car waiting for crime to happen. It's a lot of paperwork. It's boring, it's mundane, it's terrible, it's not very exciting at all.
Especially in the setting, like in Britain.
I was about to say,
in Britain, yeah.
I was about to say, like, it's funny because I can't think of a film that is more uniquely, like, I'm sure it has mass appeal. It's an amazing film. Loads of people love it. But I feel like for people growing up in rural Devon, or just growing up in Devon and the West Country, that film hits differently in how perfect of a representation it is. Like, I wonder what it's like to watch not from one of those, because I bet there's bits, and I'm sure you'll come on to this, but I bet there's bits in Hot Fuzz that you think, if you weren't from Devon, you would think were a joke.
Yeah, but they
are
real.
so accurate.
Yeah.
Like,
that
like
it's
the
like
scene with the farmer, and he's got this super deep, like,
oh yeah,
West Country
yeah,
accent.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I know people who talk that way.
Yes,
That's not
yeah,
even
yeah,
that exaggerated. Like, and actually, the funniest bit is in that film when he's talking in the accent. I remember being able to slightly understand what he was saying.
Yeah.
Because it is an accurate representation of what that accent is, and that's why it's so funny.
That's my favorite scene in the whole film is when they have like the 3 translators.
Oh, the dog. And he's like, why do we need a sniffer dog? And he's like, not for the dog.
But yeah, anyway, Hot Fuzz does the exact opposite. It shows how police work is super boring and mundane, and it shows it throughout the film. There's loads of scenes of them just doing paperwork. But it's not boring when they do it in Hot Fuzz, because Edgar Wright, the director of this film and other things like Shaun of the Dead and Spaced, he has an extremely recognizable editing style. It is fucking balls to the wall. It's fucking sound effects, fucking zoom in, zoom out, pan out. So like, you know, the main character, Sergeant Angel, is doing paperwork. He's just writing, but it's like, dun 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 dun. It's like fucking,
Oh yeah.
you know. And it's funny because it's like, it's something so boring, but he's like overly edited it to the fuck, so it's just funny as fuck. So when Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright came up with the idea to make a satirical buddy cop film, they took their sweet time with writing the script. In fact, it took them 18 whole months just to come up with the first draft of the script. 18 months.
Damn.
Yeah, they really took their time on it, and I think that time was so well spent because I genuinely believe Hot Fuzz has the best script of any film, comedy or otherwise, any film that I've ever seen. It is so tightly woven and so expertly written. Every time I watch it, it blows my mind. I discover new things every time I watch it, and I've already seen it like 30 times in my life. It's insane how like jam-packed full of references to this scene, references to that, foreshadowing, all this stuff built on top of each other in such a like perfect way. And literally almost every jokey or one-off line comes back in the film later on. Like, for example, at the start when Sergeant Angel, who's the main character, if you haven't seen this film, he's the main character, he comes into the hotel and he's talking to the receptionist, and then she looks up and goes, "Fascist." And he's like, "Excuse me?" And she's like, "Oh, it's 7 down." And she's doing a crossword puzzle. It's like, that's funny. You didn't expect that. And they're talking a bit more, and then he goes, "Hag." And she's like, "Excuse me?" And he's like, "Oh, it's 3 across." Crossword puzzle. Yeah, it's funny as fuck, right? And then it fucking comes back later on in the film, in the big shootout. She runs out with a shotgun. She's like, "Fascist!" And then he guns her down, and then stands up and goes, "Hag." And it's like...
Amazing.
Yes,
got it.
Amazing.
So good.
What was that bit,
So
Vinny?
good.
Talking about lines of that film, you were telling me recently, the last time we saw each other, about that line in Hot Fuzz, which is the greatest line ever written. Remember, in Ben's kitchen, you were telling me about this joke. It was like the greatest joke ever written, and it was a thing in Hot Fuzz, and it was a reference that they made that called back to it like a bit.
It's like it's like a joke that I didn't get until I watched it for the 30,000th time, and it finally dawned on me what the joke was. Basically, there's a completely throwaway line where someone just says the name Aaron Aronson because it's like it's AA, an AA, so it'd be like the first name on the phone book, for example. And then way later on, it's like one of the last scenes when that little kid helps him stop the bad dude, and he goes down to the little ginger kid and he's like, "What's your name?" And he goes, "Aaron Aronson." And he's like, "What?" And then it just like completely cuts to like whatever else is happening as well, because it doesn't linger on it. So it's one of those things where you don't notice it until you've seen it like 20 times, and then you finally get it. Oh, Aaron Aronson, like the fucking random throwaway line like an hour and a half earlier in the film. It's it's so good.
Aaron Aronson.
Aaron Aronson.
Aaron Aronson. But yeah, the film is just chock full of these super clever lines that relate to the goings on and all these foreshadowings of what's to come. And like I said, to this day, I spot new things every time I watch the film. It's just so much in it. And it's 2 hours long. That blew me away. I thought it'd be like an hour and a half, an hour and 40.
It's pretty long.
It's 2 hours long. There is zero fat in that 2 hour film. That's insane. There's nothing that you could get rid of that isn't just like it's needed. It's perfect.
It's a bit like Return of the King, the extended edition. 4 hours, nothing you could get rid of.
Well, they did for the cinematic release, so I'm sure it was.
Yeah, but it was incomplete. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Not only has it got an incredible script, but it's got a completely star-studded British cast of actors. So obviously Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, they're the two main characters. But it also has Paddy Considine, or Dine, can't pronounce that. Timothy Dalton. It's got Bill Nighy. It's got Jim Broadbent, who I'm actually related to, funnily enough. It's got Martin Freeman. It's got Olivia Colman, Bill Bailey, Stephen Merchant, Steve Coogan, David Bradley, Rory McCann, who's played the Hound in Game of Thrones, if you've ever seen that. And it's even got fucking Galadriel. We're bringing up Lord of the Rings again. It's got Galadriel, who's Sergeant Angel's wife, or ex-wife. That's Galadriel. And it's got fucking Peter Jackson in. Peter Jackson's the guy, the Santa Claus who stabs him in the hand in the little flashback.
Yeah. It's also got the girl who gets decapitated in the sports car, who I can't remember what her name is, but she's quite famous.
Laugh, yeah.
Yeah, she's really famous as well.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
related
she's relatively
to
famous.
that geezer, though? Why are you related to that bloke?
Oh, Jim Broadbent?
I thought you were related to the Black Prince or something.
Yeah, I am. But also I'm related to Jim Broadbent on my dad's side.
Have you ever met
like
Jim Broadbent?
He's like he's like a fourth or fifth cousin or something, but it's just
So
related
weird.
to him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Who's
it's
the
like
most famous person you're related to, Michael?
me.
His fiance. He does come with Tiverton.
No, but I was just thinking the other day. You know Sir Ranulph Fiennes?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know Ralph Fiennes is his cousin?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Like, I know they have the same name, and then I was like, they look exactly the same, and they're cousins. That's a pretty good bloodline. Like, Sir Ranulph Fiennes is a beast, and Ralph Fiennes is pretty cool too.
Okay, so moving on. I think it's really interesting.
Fuck you guys.
Film from that. So it's got all those actors, an incredible script. It's got a fantastic fight scene at the end. Like the shootout at the end is genuinely one of the best shootout scenes in any film I've ever seen.
Michael, what are you laughing at?
I'm just looking at the text commentary for the Everton Arsenal game, and it says Everton keeper Jordan Henderson.
Jordan Henderson. He swapped sides. He's gone in goal.
Whoever's writing this live commentary is a bit Jordanist.
Stop trying to take away from the fact that you're fucking ableist, right?
Comedy. Sorry, I really cut you off there, but it was actually making me chuckle. Right, I won't look at it now.
So anyway, not only does it have, in my opinion, some of the best, like the shootout scene is one of the best action scenes in any film I've seen ever. It's fantastic. It's really well made, really well directed.
It catches you off surprise as well, like you said, because it's parodying like explosiveness, and then it's like this mundane the whole film, and then right at the end it's like this epic shootout. But I think that's,
it goes
that's
back
the
into
joke,
like,
isn't it? Though.
Yeah, that is part of the joke. Yeah.
I love it.
But the budget of the film is 12 to 16 million.
Is that it?
Blimey, that's not very much.
Tiny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tiny.
That is pretty small.
I didn't know it was that small.
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it?
That is
That
crazy,
is wild.
Yeah.
God, that's shocking.
Another one of my favorite things about this film is that there is a really good plot line about how... Do you know how, like, at the end, spoiler alert, like, it turns out the reason why the murders are all happening is because it's the Neighborhood Watch Association, NWA,
Yeah.
and they're killing off all the people they don't like.
So
because
Yeah.
they're killing off the undesirables because they're like, we want to win Village of the Year every year. Like, it's like a really stupid reason why they're murdering all these people. But like, there actually is an actual genuine crime plot line about like, this person owns all this land, so like it would be like in the best interest of the supermarket owner, super sus, to like axe that person. And Angel works it all out, and it makes sense. All of it makes sense, just for the fact that that's not what happens. In fact,
that's just not it.
Yeah, but it's like, it's a genuine thing that like it makes sense. Like, it would work perfectly in the film if they just said like, yeah, that's the plot line. If they just said yes.
Yeah, that's the solution. Yeah, but
it was actually NWA.
No, it's just NWA.
But it's actually it's just NWA killing off undesirables.
Isn't it filmed in? Is it filmed in Wells?
Wells.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I'm
like,
there all the time
next
to
to Bristol.
work. I go up there all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I go there quite a lot. Yeah, it's next to Glastonbury.
It's where Edgar Wright was born and grew up, actually.
Really?
And that's why he filmed it there, because he knew it like the back of his hand.
Oh, yeah. Fair play.
Sure. But yeah, I think I'm just going to jump straight to the conclusion. So, Hot Fuzz is not only an immaculate parody of cop films, completely turning the genre on its head and praising actual realistic good police work over the ridiculous running in and gunning down everyone approach cop films tend to be about. Also, did you know that he doesn't kill anyone in the film?
Yeah,
Who?
yeah.
No one, like Angel, the main character, he doesn't kill a single person.
What, not even in the
film.
shootout?
No,
in the
he does
shootout.
like clever stuff.
Yeah.
How do
Because
they...
he's a good police officer. That's it.
He does quite
diligent.
badly injure that woman who he shoots down the bear trap and it lands on his head.
I mean, yeah, but like, you have to do something to get them like incapacitated.
That's true.
But he doesn't kill any of them. Also, another cool thing which I found out recently is the do you know like the scene where like the guy pushes over the big spike at the top of like the cathedral and it comes down.
falls on his head.
Yeah. So that same guy, so it was obviously the supermarket guy, he obviously lands on like the model, again, another funny thing, the model village. Model village. The model village is cathedral spike, and it goes through his thing, and it's the same spike. Like, I didn't realize that.
Oh, because the spike falls off the thing, yeah.
Yeah. See what I mean? Everything's so like tightly woven together.
It's ingenious.
It's so good.
It's almost as genius as the stoner getting rolled into a joint and smoked.
I just about forgotten that
Aaron Aronson is nearly as good as that.
God, I hate you.
But it's the film that keeps on giving. It's chock full of memorable lines and hilarious moments. It's brilliantly acted, brilliantly paced, and even though it's one of those films that in England everyone who I've met absolutely loves it, I still think it doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Maybe more like in America, just because like it's a 7.8 on IMDb. Like, what? That blew me away.
Yeah.
7.8. That's so low.
Yeah, it is weird because
Yeah,
everyone you meet is
that.
like, "Oh, I fucking love Hot Fuzz," but it's not like when you think of greatest comedy movies of all time, you think of like, I don't know, Step Brothers, Scary Movie 2. Hot Fuzz doesn't really come in there that often, does it?
No.
I'd say no to all of that.
No, I don't think it does.
But yeah, I think I've made my point. It's a fantastic film. Fantastic film.
Wow, I like that.
Wow.
Sam,
yeah,
you've
well,
got a tough decision, mate.
Yes, both really good picks. On the one hand, obvious and shite, and on the other, surprising and good. I wouldn't have thought
what it will be.
I wouldn't have thought of Hot Fuzz as a parody, but it absolutely is a parody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's a parody that's close to all of our hearts. And I think it's also like that thing of, I think it hits particularly deep because you know, that's where we grew up, and those characters are very like obvious and no, like even the fucking local, what's his name? The local reporter who gets the thing fall on his head.
Yeah.
He's such a depiction of that local, like the guy who used to turn up and fucking take pictures of the school fete or whatever. Like they always had the camera with the big yellow straps that said the brand on it and like a leather jacket, and everyone would be like, "Oh, he's a photographer," you know. But you know, and it's an amazing film. I think it's, you know, not just one of the great parodies, but one of the greatest films, probably. I really love Hot Fuzz. But, unfortunately, is it better than a stoner being rolled up into a giant spliff and smoked? Yes, it is. So, Vinny, Hot Fuzz, you've won. Hot Fuzz is, without a doubt, the greatest parody film of all time. I couldn't have picked a better choice myself. Even if it had been The Great Dictator, I think Hot Fuzz still could have won. And not just because I like Hitler, but
He said it. He finally admitted it.
Yes, got him.
but yeah, do you want to hear?
No.
Nope.
So Hitler's in the woods, right? And
Yeah.
and he's walking around and he's asking all the other like army men, Do you have some matches? No. Do you have any matches? No. Do you have any matches? No. And he goes, the last guy's like, can I just have a match? And he's like, why'd you need a match? And he goes, to light mein campfire.
Did you make that up?
Yeah.
That sounds like a joke someone who's not a comedian fucking made up.
Well, it was.
It's a joke you make up.
Well, this episode, which has been a parody of Normal Goats, because Scary Movie 2 should have won. Listen,
You're a parody. You're a fucking joke, mate.
I didn't know that Vinny was gonna do something good. So if I'd
What
known,
do you mean? You didn't know Vinny was going to put any effort in whatsoever.
I put effort in, like I said to you in the breaks.
That's the worst bit about it.
I was writing it normally. I was just writing it like a normal script that I always do, is researching the film and about its backstory and everything else. And I was like, "This is good, yeah." And then
But
as
that's
I
worrying.
was reading it live, I was like, "Oh." I filled it
shit.
with funny anecdotes, stories about my life, and I was like, "Maybe this is shit," but not because I'd done it shit, because it's just a shit movie. You can't polish a turd.
I genuinely think so. So I'd say Scary Movie 1's the best Scary Movie. I'd say hands down. And then I wouldn't even say Scary Movie 2's the second. I'd say Scary Movie 3's better than 2. Then I'd say 2 maybe, and then 4. And then all of the rest are complete garbage.
So Michael picked the third best shit film.
Scary Movie 1's... I still think Scary Movie 1's a good film. In fact...
Yeah, Scary Movie 1 is a good film.
Why did you pick that then?
Because it doesn't parody as many movies.
It's terrible. It does it better, though.
Honestly, it's making my eyes hurt.
Oh, God. God, Seb, Vinny, you were gonna say something anyway.
I was gonna say, I actually like Scary Movie so much. Like, I love the first Scary Movie so much that I remember once I was watching Scream with my friend around Halloween. We got like 10 minutes into it, and the whole time I was saying like, "Oh yeah, I remember this bit from Scary Movie. I remember when Scary Movie like parodied this scene. I remember this bit." And I turned to him and I said, "Do you want to just watch Scary Movie 1?" And he was like, "Yeah, all right." I just turned it off and watched Scary Movie 1 instead. And I loved it.
Yeah, because Scream is a parody of the slasher genre, but Scary Movie is just a parody of Scream, which just does it way better because it's just so much more funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of a comedy, whereas Scream's kind of just a regular slasher film, really.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's big for the time, but it's not that.
I don't think
really.
Scream's aged that well.
No,
I don't think Scary Movies aged that well, or Scary Movie 2 with all the ableism. So, on that note...
I also didn't know about that, or I don't... That's not me. Because I'm going to get battered otherwise, and it's not... I didn't make that fucking shit movie.
But you did pick it. You've got to lay in your ableist fucking bed, mate. Which you only made with your one hand.
Well, at least if I could bring 3 people to dinner with me, I wouldn't pick Hitler, Goebbels, and Kanye.
Mate, can you imagine though? What a fucking dinner party that would be. You telling me that wouldn't be fun?
Oh,
who would you rather be at dinner party with?
Do you know I've been sitting on that joke for weeks. Wait, it's just
Gandhi
for a way to bring it out.
Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and fucking Malcolm X. I'd be going on and on and on about all the good things that you need to do. And, there's all these problems in the world. Fucking Goebbels, Hitler, and Kanye. That'd be what a fucking chat that would be. And they're all united around the same problem: the Jews.
No, we have to beep that. We have to cut that and make it the cut a joke.
Two-thirds of them would just speak German, and then Kanye, I don't know, I feel like the Nazis probably were quite racist towards black people. I feel like that's probably true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think they would get along. I think they would just be like, "I'm not eating food with this person."
Yeah, but he'd be like, Kanye, you know?
Well, Hitler would be like, yo, Kids and Ghosts is one of my favourite albums, bro.
Yeah!
I love College Dropout, bro.
Yeah!
He'd be like, yo, anyway. Kanye, do your best Jay-Z impression. Yeah!
Right, on this fucking note, let's end the show. Okay. Hot Fuzz is definitely the greatest parody of all time. And that's that. Come back next week for some other shit that I don't know.
Female icon.
What did we pick? What?
That's what we got down. Female icon.
That's right. Nothing better than 3 men talking about the greatest female icon And I think we were supposed to get a guest on, and we didn't. So that's just going to be us.
We could do fictional mentor instead.
Okay, we'll just put both in. So, goat fictional villain, goat fictional woman is next week.
Fictional mentor.
Mentor.
Goat fictional mental.
Mentor.
Like Gandalf.
How are you fucking this up so bad?
Like
I'm
Gandalf.
doing a
Mr.
bit.
Miyagi or...
Okay, so next week is goat fictional mentor or goat woman or something. Goat female icon.
Woman.
Your mum.
Yeah, I got your mum. She's fucking so good at sex.
Oh, this is shit. Right.
So full of laughs.
So yeah, come back next week for the goat fictional mentor. And in the meantime, go back and listen to our back catalogue, which is on Patreon ad-free. Or don't do it ad-free and pay us all that money. Speaking of Patreon, you can sign up for just £5 a month. And, you know, when Michael loses his job because he's a horrible ableist, at least he'll have some money to pay for his kid. On that note, see you next week. I don't know. Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.